Hello friends, last lecture we have covered the topic that is cell theory, and we also learned the exceptions to the cell theory. Okay, so in today's lecture we are going to start with the details of eukaryotic cells, and we are going to check diagram and the structural characteristic of animal cell as well as plant cell. Okay, and at the last we will have a very informative video, right, that will help you to understand these all details which we are taking in this lecture. Fine. So can anyone uh, just guess that what is a cell or how we can define a cell, right, considering the structural characteristic? Yes, definitely we have discussed that part. So a cell, when it is having cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm, right, these three components, if they are present, then we consider cell as a cell. Okay, this is a structural definition of a cell. Fine. So definitely cell membrane, starting with the cell membrane is also called as a plasma membrane. Fine. So this is an outermost covering, right, that is present over animal cell, right. It is present in all living cell, right, definitely in case of prokaryotes also, eukaryotes also. And in eukaryotes, definitely we will divide two categories: animal cell, plants. It is present in both. But for animal cell, it is outermost covering. For plant cell, you know that there is one more covering which is called as a cell wall. Okay. Remember that cell membrane in every organism is almost same, right? Almost same. That means it is made up of phospholipid bilayer, right? Which are having some proteins, right? So this structure definitely we will learn as a fluid mosaic model whenever we will go through the details of cell membrane. But then it is made up of a phospholipid bilayer, and that is same for all living organisms. Okay, and roughly the size of cell membrane is also same, and that is 75 angstrom, right? That is 1 angstrom is equal to 10 raised to minus 10 meter. Fine, that are the dimensions regarding the size of cell membrane. Moving toward the second is nucleus. Nucleus is definitely a most important part for any cell, right, because it is controlling overall activities, metabolic activities, cellular activities within a cell. So it's a controller, or you can say director of the cell. That is how you can define, right? Just like a cell is having cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm, similarly nucleus is also having nuclear membrane. You can just see that here it I've shown as a single, but actually there are two layers, right? Why two layer, right? I've roughly shown it as a two layer, right? One and second. Okay, why two layer is there? Because it contains genetic material, that is DNA, in a form of a thread like structure, and this thread like structure is called as a chromatin. Now this DNA needs to be protected from the external environment, right? Like chemicals, you can say that toxins, okay, radiations. These all material definitely may damage genetic material, and that cannot be allowed, right? Genetic material definitely should not be, because that damaged, and that is the reason why you have two layer, right? Double layered structure that is covering this nucleus, right? So nuclear membrane, which is a double layered structure. Fine. Definitely cell membrane and nuclear membrane both are semi permeable and selectively permeable. Okay. Definitely we will learn these two terminologies, but it is my advice to you, right, you all, to go through this meaning of these two words. What do you mean by semi permeable structure? What do you mean by selectively permeable structure, right? If you try to find, definitely you will get very important details. Otherwise, wherever cell membrane is going to cover, we are going to get this detail, we are going to understand this detail. Fine. Again, moving toward the structure of nucleus. So one is nuclear membrane, we already learned. Second is this in between, that's called as a nucleoplasm. Just like cell you have cytoplasm, nucleus will have nucleoplasm. And there is a structure which you call as a nucleus within a nucleus, right, or nucleus of a nucleus, that's called as a nucleolus. Nucleolus is important for the synthesis of a structure which is called as a ribosome. Okay, so I'm just writing here ribo, right? So ribosomes are structure which are important for protein synthesis, right? Yes, here it is. This structure are important for protein synthesis, and the synthesis of these ribosomes, that will happen in the nucleolus, right? So two details we have covered. One is definitely because that if someone asks that what is the site of protein synthesis, or which of the following is called as a protein factories, then your answer will be ribosome. If someone asks you which of the following is a ribosome factory or site of the synthesis of ribosome, then your answer will be nucleolus. Normal cell, they have one nucleolus, right? But some cases, right, different animal cells have different nucleolus. Say for example, human cell have 5 nucleolus, right? And in that case, singular is called as a nucleolus. If more than one, we call it as a nucleoli, right? So 5 nucleoli are present in because that a human cell. Okay, so this is the structure of nucleolus, right? We have remembered that nuclear membrane is a double layer structure and nucleolus is a membraneless structure. Why nucleolus is a membraneless structure? Because if it wants to synthesize a macromolecule like ribosome, right, which has to be come out from this structure, nucleolus, right, it should release this, and if covering is there, that release will not happen. Okay, that's why it is a membraneless structure. These examples are important because they are asked in the NEET examination, frequently asked questions in the NEET examination. You will be asked which of the following organelles, which of the following structures are double layered, right? So definitely your answer will be those structures which are having DNA, that needs to be protected, and that has to be only double layered, right? Otherwise you will only have a single membrane structure. Okay, so these details definitely are important, and that's why we have emphasized, right? We have put some emphasis on that. Okay, chalo, moving toward the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm, definitely you can divide the cytoplasm in two parts, right? One that is called as a cytosol, right? Cyto refers to cell and sol refers to a liquid, right? So a clear liquid, right, which is present in cytoplasm, that is called as a cytosol, right? So if you remove all organelles, right, I hope you are clear with the word organelles. What do you mean by organ, right? Just like a part of you can say that organ system, here also cell are having some small structures, so definitely you can call it as an organ, but these organs are very small, so you will not call it as an organ, you will call it as a organelle. So this little organ like structure, right, that is called as organelles, that is mitochondria, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, these are all organelles. These are the structures present in the cytosol, and when you consider both of this, it becomes cytoplasm. Okay, cytosol can also be referred as a hyaloplasm, right? Why it is called as a hyalos, right? The word hyalos refers to clear, glassy, right? Glassy like appearance is called as a hyalos, right? Say for example, hyaline cartilage, glassy cartilage, right? So from that the word you can just consider. So this suffix has to be, one time it has been asked in the NEET examination that what is hyaloplasm. So hyaloplasm, if someone asks, then your answer will be cytoplasm minus cell organ, right? So that is equal to cytosol or hyaloplasm. And remember, hyaloplasm, the word we have derived from the word Latin word hyalos, which is meant as glassy appearance. Okay, so this is a very important detail. Okay, so I hope you are clear. Cytosol, definitely it is a clear liquid, right? That is water, and you have some dissolved structures like nutrients, cations, anions like sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, chloride, right? These all will form cytosol. And organelles, definitely they are related with the nutrition, right? With the generation of the ATPs, utilization of ATP. And whenever you have word related to the nutrition, you can call it as a tropho, right? Just like hyalo, we have said that it is related with the, because of that glassy appearance, right? Similarly, word wherever tropho is there, it is related with the nutrition. So trophoplasm, if someone asks, so trophoplasm is nothing but it is all cell organelles that we are considering, right? This is how you remember, right? This is how you understand these words. Okay, I hope you are clear with the cytoplasm. Cytosol we have already covered. Now we are moving towards the individual organelles. Moving toward the first one is a mitochondrion, right? So mitochondrion, again you can just see that it is a double layer structure. Why it is double layer structure? you can easily imagine that there has to be some genetic material within these also, right? So it is called as a mitochondrial DNA. It is the only structure in the cytoplasm which is having DNA, right? Remember, in an animal cell, DNA is present two sides. One, that is definitely nucleus, and second, definitely in mitochondria in a very small quantity. And because there is a presence of DNA, definitely it needs to be protected again, and that's why you have a double layer structure. This is the reason why mitochondria is also a double layer structure. Mitochondria is definitely a site of synthesis of ATP. You can also call it as a powerhouse of, you can say, that cell. Okay. Details, definitely structural and functional details, we will cover in the upcoming lectures, right? Golgi body, this is a site, right, where packaging of material could happen, right, or glycosylation process could occur, right? So this is a structure which is normally, you can say, either you can say one, or you can say that you can say at the max you can say 10, right, Golgi bodies can be present, right, in a cell. Now these structures you need to differentiate with a structure that is called as a endoplasmic reticulum, right? What you mean by endoplasmic reticulum? Endo refers to within, right, because it is present within a cell, and plasm, that is again cytoplasm. So within cytoplasm, that's why endoplasmic, and it is a reticule, right? Reticule means network, right? So from reticule, the word is reticulum. So it's a network of a tubules, right? It's a tubule. You can just see that single layered structure. It's a one membrane, right? Here also is a one membrane. So which is creating a tube-like structure. Here also there is a tube-like structure, but here characteristically this ends, they are comparatively swollen, right? These swollen structures are characteristic of Golgi body, right? And that is how you identify, right? These structures. I'm trying to draw both ends. They are slightly bulged. They are slightly swollen, right? That is characteristic, structural characteristic of Golgi body, and that is how you differentiate it from the endoplasmic reticulum. Another characteristic of endoplasmic reticulum is normally endoplasmic reticulum is having attachment with the nuclear membrane also and with the cell membrane also, right? So throughout the cell you can just identify this structure, which are very important for the structural support of a cell. Okay, there are lots of, you can say, important function definitely that you will learn in detail. Now this endoplasmic reticulum can again be divided in two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough because from the appearance, right? Why this appearance is there? Because there is attachment of ribosome, right, and that gives a rough appearance, right? So ribosome, as we have already learned, that they are important for protein synthesis. So rough endoplasmic reticulum is also having functions which are related with the protein synthesis. The type of endoplasmic reticulum where you do not observe ribosomes, that is called as a smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is important site for the lipid synthesis as well as transportation of various materials. Okay, so this is regarding endoplasmic reticulum. Also you have a membrane bound structure, single membrane bound structure, which are having lots of enzymes, hydrolytic enzyme, that is called as a lysosome. If you remember, maybe in your secondary education you have learned it as a suicidal bag. Okay, that is only one function, right? There are lots of other functions which are related with the you can say removal of garbage from the cell, right? Digestion of the intracellular organelles, right? These are all very important functions related with the lysosome. Okay, cell membrane we have already learned. Vacuole is you can say structure which can, you can say that you can say have concentration of some nutrient or waste material or maybe some gases, right? So that sort of functions you can observe with the vacuole, but vacuole are not well developed in animals, right? That's a important difference between animal cell and a plant cell. Plant cell always have a big vacuoles, large vacuoles, right, which are well developed, right? And in case of animal cell, vacuoles are normally absent, right? If even if they are present, then also they are very small, right? Say for example, monocyte is a type of WBC where you can observe vacuoles, very clear vacuoles that you can observe, right? And this is having a layer, right, that's membrane. It's called as a tonoplast, right? Membrane of vacuole is referred as a tonoplast, right? So tonoplast is a living structure, right? Definitely is a living structure, but rest of the inside of the vacuole definitely is a non-living structure, and that's why vacuole is considered as a cell inclusion, right? It is not considered as a cell organelle. So tonoplast, right? That is a very important name, right? That you to remember, right? Tonoplast is a membrane, right? Here it is shown as a thick membrane. You do not consider as a two-layer membrane. It is only a single layer membrane. Two-layer membrane only observed surrounding nucleus and mitochondria. Okay, fine. Nucleolus we have already observed. So nucleus of nucleus, right? Site of the ribosome synthesis. Centriole, very important structure. Now these three structures, centriole, ribosome and nucleolus, these three are structures which are, you can say that, membraneless structure. Okay, why membraneless? That is definitely you need to understand, because nucleolus, as I told you, that it is a site for synthesis of, you can say that, ribosome, right? So if ribosome has to be released, definitely covering will produce hurdle. Similarly, ribosomes are site of synthesis of proteins. Proteins again are macromolecules, and if macromolecules are there, again that release of this synthesized protein will create a hurdle. So ribosomes also are not having covering. Okay, they are also membraneless structure. Centriole also is very important because it produces spindle fibers. Spindle fibers will be helpful in the division of cell, right? Cell division process. And these are very long structures. Such long structures, if they need to be created, definitely covering has to be absent. So these also are membraneless structure. Right? These two are organelles, right? Definitely. Right? Centriole we are considering as an organelle. Ribosome also we are considering as an organelle. Nucleolus is a structure, it is not an organelle. Okay, so if someone asks you which of the following organelles are membraneless in animal cell, then your answer will be ribosome and centriole. But if someone asks you which of the following structures are membraneless in an animal cell, in addition to ribosome and centriole, you also need to consider nucleolus. Similarly, if someone asks you which of the following is a double layer organelle, right? Two membraned organelle, so then your answer will be mitochondria. If someone asks you which of the following are double layered structures present in an animal cell, then your answer will be mitochondria as well as nucleus. I hope it is clear. Okay, fine. Chalo, let's move ahead. Microtubules, right? As it is said that micro, that's a small tubule, right? Small tubule like structure, hollow tubes, right? These are important for providing the, you can say that, support to the to the cell, and that's why they are considered as a part of cytoskeleton, right? Cyto refers to cell, skeleton refers to one which supports your, you can say, structure, right? Say for example your body is supported by bones and cartilage, right? That you consider as a skeleton. Similarly, inside of cell also, maintenance of a shape, maintenance of size, this is all important, and this all support is provided by three structure. One of that is microtubule. Okay, cytoplasm we already learned. So with this, almost all structures in animal cell we have, you can say that, understood. Okay, I hope it is clear. So let's check whether you have remembered these names or not. So I am just hiding these names, right? I am locking these all labels, right? And you need to remember, right? You need to speak these names. This will help you in understanding as well as remembering all these details. Okay, so if necessary, you can definitely pause the video in between so that you can speak the name of the labeled parts. Fine. Starting with the first one, we will start with here. Here it is been shown as a mitochondrion, right? Or mitochondrium. So mitochondria, how will you identify? You will identify on the basis of this cristae, right? This thread-like structure, right? So this is called as a cristae, right? So from the presence of cristae and from the presence of this double layer structure, you can easily identify mitochondrion. Okay, chalo, moving toward the second one, Golgi body or Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus, how will you identify? From the swollen ends, right? And also some structures which are budding off from this lysosome, right? Because it is having secretory function, right? It is helpful for the secretion of various material. So there are lots of vesicles which will be budding off from this structure. Okay, normally you have one or two Golgi apparatus shown in the diagram, not more than that. Okay, so Golgi apparatus, okay, or Golgi body. Here it is a tube-like structure. which is covering whole cytoplasm. Can you just name it? Yes, definitely it is endoplasmic reticulum. But whether it is rough or smooth, that also you need to identify. So here it is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Right? Why do I call it as a rough? Because presence of ribosome. Right? This one, yes, it is also endoplasmic reticulum, but it is not having ribosome. That's why smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, chalo, let's move to this side. Fine. So here it is been shown as a lysosome, right? Very important organelle which is having hydrolytic enzyme, lysosome. Yes. Here, outermost covering of an animal cell, that's called as a cell membrane, plasma membrane. Very good. Chalo. Here it is a structure, not well developed structure, right, which can store some nutrients or waste material. That's called as a, you can say that, vacuole. Okay. Chalo. Vacuoles are not well developed in animals. Fine. Here is nucleus, and it is a nucleus of a nucleus. Can you name it? Yes, it is nucleolus. What is function of nucleolus? It is for the synthesis of ribosomes. Here it is the one. You can just see that membrane. This membrane is called as a nuclear membrane, right? So, and these are all structures: nucleolus, nucleoplasm, nuclear membrane. Together, you will call it as a nucleus. Here is a pair of centriole. You can just see that, right? So, definitely, I already named it, right? I have already spoken that. So that's a centriole, right? These two centriole together, they are referred as a centrosome, right? Here it's not shown, but you need to remember. Fine. This is a structure which is important for providing support to the cell. That's why it is a part of cytoskeleton. Can you name it? Yes, it is microtubules. Okay, very good. Chalo, these are small structures. Smallest organelle of a cell. If someone asks smallest organelle of a cell, this will be the answer. Membraneless structure. Here centriole also are membraneless structure. Here this organelle also is a membraneless structure. And you can identify also that these structures are present somewhere here. Yes, now it is very easy. It is ribosome. The size of ribosome is somewhere around 20 nanometer. And 20 nanometer is a very small structure. You cannot observe without electron microscope. So one time it was asked in the examination, which of the following structure can only be observed with electron microscope? Answer will be ribosome, right? Finally, it is the cytoplasm which I have shown. Cytoplasm is equal to cytosol plus the organelles. Okay. So we have revised every details. We have checked every details. This is the same diagram that is been shown, but in another way, right? In the NCERT, you have to go through all these names, right? I am not again hiding this part, but you need to go all these names, right? Additional names which are been mentioned in this diagram, which you have seen as compared to the previous diagram. These are microvilli, right? Microvilli are just a modification of cell membrane, right? And these modifications are done to increase the surface area, right? Say for example, in digestive system, right? You have a small intestine. Small intestine is a site where digestion and absorption of nutrient will occur, and such a case you need a large surface area, right? So you have presence of a finger-like structure. Finger-like projections are called as a villi. And on the villi you have a small structures further, right? Hair-like structures that are called as a microvilli. Microvilli increases the surface area. That is the importance of microvilli. Okay. Also, there is one more structure that is been shown here, that is peroxisome. Peroxisome is again a membrane-bound structure, right? Single membrane-bound structure, which is having some enzymes like peroxidase, amine oxidase, right? Which are having various metabolic importance. Okay. Rest of the all structures we have already learned, so I am not repeating that part. But definitely you can hide this part, right, on your own, and you need to, yeah, you can very easily observe Golgi apparatus that at the end they are having a swollen structures, right? That's how you will differentiate from the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough, because smooth endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi body sometimes they appears very similar. So how will you differentiate? You will differentiate on the basis of these swollen ends. That's a important observation. Okay. Rest of the details are very easy and you definitely have to. So now let's check, if unknown diagram is given to you, whether you are able to identify these all structures or not. Okay, so let's start the test. Okay, how you have understood, right? What you have understood, that we will try to see. Chalo, can you name this part? Yes, it is definitely a cell membrane or a plasma membrane. This part, yes, it is definitely endoplasmic reticulum. If you just see these structures, it is rough endoplasmic. If you do not see this structure, definitely it is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so here I just mentioned as an endoplasmic reticulum. This structure, yes, it is nucleus. You can just see the thread-like material, that is nucleoplasm, your chromatin material. You can also observe nucleolus and double membrane-like structure, that is nuclear membrane. Okay, yeah, this part. Can you name it? Yes, you can guess on the basis of these structures which are embedded on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, and from that you can identify it as a ribosome. Also, these are the smallest organelle. From that also you can identify that these are ribosome. Okay, so this structure, is it a smooth endoplasmic reticulum? No, it is Golgi apparatus. How you have come to conclusion? Because the ends of this structure, tubules of these structures, they are having a swollen part, right? Slightly bulged. That's why Golgi apparatus. Having a secretory function as well as glycosylation. These are two important functions. Packaging, right? These are important function of Golgi apparatus. Yeah, presence of cristae, right? And a double layer structure. That's why mitochondria. Okay. And lastly, large structures which are having hydrolytic enzyme, and that is lysosome. Okay, so with this I hope you are having a very clear idea of various cellular structures, all organelles, right? We have learned. Now let's compare animal cell with the plant cell, right? One clear difference that I am able to make here is this, that is presence of chloroplast, right? Actually there are plastids. Chloroplast is a one type of a plastid, right? So plastids are the structures, right, in a plant cell which are having various pigments, right? And if green pigment, that is chlorophyll, is there, then that plastids are referred as a chloroplast, right? You know that chloroplasts are important for, you can say that, photosynthesis. Okay, so these are the chloroplasts, that is, these are the structures which are present in the plant cell but absent in the animals. Okay, similarly you can just see that cell membrane is there, right? This first layer that I'm observing is a cell membrane. Okay, here plasma membrane, definitely first layer. So that was definitely present in the animal cell also, but here in case of, you can say, the plant cell, another, you can say, layer, right, that you are observing, and that is called as a cell wall, right? Cell wall is absent in animal cell but is present in the plant cell. Okay, so this second layer, first layer is plasma membrane, second layer, this layer what you are observing is a cell wall. Now this is adjacent cell, neighboring cell. Here also neighboring cell is there. So these two neighboring cell, they are glued with some material, what you call as a plant cement material, and that plant cement material is called as a middle lamella, right? So middle lamella is a structure which glues, right, which sticks these two adjacent cell, and that's why it is called as a middle, right? Lamella means a layer, right? So middle layer, or you can say that a plant cementing material, right, which is made up of a calcium and a magnesium pectate, that is middle lamella, right? Now because there are two layers and entry and exit of the material will take some time, so sometime to have an easy transportation between the neighboring cell, you have the development of such cytoplasmic bridges between these plant cells, that is called as a plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata are the cytoplasmic bridges which are present between two neighboring plant cell. Okay, so this also is a very important structure. See, these all structures, right? Middle lamella, cell wall, plasmodesmata, chloroplast, these are structures which are absent in the animal cell and they are present in the plant cell. Okay, also check that this vacuole is a quite large structure, almost occupying 40-50% of cell size, right? So that is well developed, always a well developed structure. In case of a plant cell, it is also very important for osmoregulation, right? Movement of water, right? These are all storage of nutrient, right? These are all very important function of vacuole in a plant cell, and that's why they are very well developed. In case of animal cell, vacuoles are normally not present. If they are present, then also they are very small or not developed. Okay, that is how you will differentiate. Okay, and lastly we will also try to identify some structures which are present in animal cell but not in the plant cell, and that is one of the characteristic is centriole. Centriole are present in animal cell but not present in a plant cell. these are some differences which I have tried to identify. That's an exercise for you, right? All of you will try to prepare list of differences. I have narrated 5 to 6 difference. You will try to prepare list of 10 differences. Okay, let's check whether you are able to differentiate these two cells from the diagram or not. Okay, so that's an exercise for you. I hope it is clear to all of you. Let's check the differences which I have shown here, right, in a form of a plant cell and animal cell difference. So let's check whether you are able to remember these all names or not. Okay, so can you name this structure? Yes, it is plasmodesmata. Very good. Chalo, this, can you name this structure? A last structure, is it nucleus? No, it is not nucleus. Definitely it is. Nucleus is here, right? Here it is vacuole, right? And vacuole, you can just see that single layer is that tonoplast. You already referred the name. Yeah, this structure is a middle lamella, right? It's a plant cement material that glues to cell. Very good. Chalo. Here, yes, it is cell wall, right? And last one here, it is, you can just see that this is chloroplast. Here it is not shown as a double layer structure, but definitely you need to remember, just like mitochondria, chloroplast also have DNA. That's called as a plastidial DNA. So in plant cell, there are two organelles which is having a double layer structure. One is you can say that this mitochondria, and second is chloroplast. This, because these two are having DNA, that's why they are having a double layer membrane. Okay, so with this we have covered the details that are given in the diagram. Definitely all organelles we are going to discuss in detail. Let's check a very important video which will help you in revision of all details that we have learned. Okay, so let's check.
Cells are the smallest living units of an organism. All cells have three things in common, no matter what type of cell they are. All cells have a cell membrane, which separates the inside of the cell from its environment, cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like fluid, and DNA, which is the cell's genetic material. There are two broad categories of cells. The first category is eukaryotic cells. They have organelles, which include the nucleus and other special parts. Eukaryotic cells are more advanced complex cells, such as those found in plants and animals. The second category is prokaryotic cells. They don't have a nucleus or membrane-enclosed organelles. They do have genetic material, but it's not contained within a nucleus. Prokaryotic cells are always one-celled or unicellular organisms, such as bacteria. So, what are organelles? Organelle means little organ. Organelles are the specialized parts of a cell that have unique jobs to perform. Let's start with the nucleus, the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains DNA, or genetic material. DNA dictates what the cell is going to do and how it's going to do it. Chromatin is the tangled, spread-out form of DNA found inside the nuclear membrane. When a cell is ready to divide, DNA condenses into structures known as chromosomes. The nucleus also contains a nucleolus, which is a structure where ribosomes are made. After ribosomes leave the nucleus, they will have the important job of synthesizing or making proteins. Outside the nucleus, the ribosomes and the rest of the organelles float around in cytoplasm, which is the jelly-like substance. Ribosomes may wander freely within the cytoplasm or attach to the endoplasmic reticulum, sometimes abbreviated as ER. There are two types of ER. Rough ER has ribosomes attached to it, and smooth ER doesn't have ribosomes attached to it. The endoplasmic reticulum is a membrane-enclosed passageway for transporting materials, such as the proteins synthesized by ribosomes. Proteins and other materials emerge from the endoplasmic reticulum in small vesicles, where the Golgi apparatus, sometimes called the Golgi body, receives them. As proteins move through the Golgi body, they're customized into forms that the cell can use. The Golgi body does this by folding the proteins into usable shapes, or adding other materials onto them, such as lipids or carbohydrates. Vacuoles are sac-like structures that store different materials. Here, in this plant cell, the central vacuole stores water. Going back to the animal cell, you will see an organelle called a lysosome. Lysosomes are the garbage collectors that take in damaged or worn-out cell parts. They are filled with enzymes that break down this cellular debris. The mitochondrion is an organelle that is the powerhouse for both animal and plant cells. During a process called cellular respiration, the mitochondria make ATP molecules that provide the energy for all of the cell's activities. Cells that need more energy have more mitochondria. Meanwhile, the cell maintains its shape through a cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton includes the thread-like microfilaments, which are made of protein, and microtubules, which are thin, hollow tubes. Some organisms, such as plants, that are photoautotrophic, meaning they capture sunlight for energy, have cells with an organelle called a chloroplast. The chloroplast is where photosynthesis happens. It's green because it has a green pigment called chlorophyll. Plant cells also have a cell wall outside of their cell membranes that shape, support, and protect the plant cell. Animal cells never have a cell wall. There are many other unique structures that only some cells have. Here are just a few. In humans, for example, the respiratory tract is lined with cells that have cilia. These are microscopic hair-like projections that can move in waves. This feature helps trap inhaled particles in the air and expels them when you cough. Another unique feature in some cells is flagella. Some bacteria have flagella. A flagellum is like a little tail that can help a cell move or propel itself. The only human cell that has a flagellum is a sperm cell. In summary, remember, eukaryotic cells are plant and animal cells with a nucleus and membrane-enclosed organelles, while prokaryotic cells are unicellular organisms without these things. All cells have a cell membrane, cytoplasm, and genetic material. And even though only plant cells have chloroplast, both plant and animal cells have mitochondria.
So that's all for today's lecture. I hope you have gone through a very informative lecture. Fine. Thank you very much.